Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time. Just welcome. Today I am going to draw and chat about the green clawed beast. Growing up in the Ohio River Valley, I heard countless tales about what lurks beneath the surfaces of the Ohio River's chocolate milk looking waters. And when I say chocolate milk, I mean it. They're just not appealing. Anyhow, the most prevalent legend that I heard was of this man-eating catfish that had been mutated beyond recognition from industrial pollution runoff of some kind. Rumor has it that this big old fish would gobble you up if you even dared to dip a toe in the water. So I'm sure it was a way to deter you from, getting in the river and getting swept away. But I was convinced this thing was real. Also, my pap lived along the river, and every time the family went to visit, he took this sick pleasure in pointing to the hills on the horizon and talking about these giants that would descend into the night and wade effortlessly through the ripples of the river and make their way to peer in windows like a bunch of creepers. Like, what do you have to gain from this? This is such a weird story anyhow. He would be like, "Hey, Nat, giants live in those hills, right? Better be good or they'll come down here and use their claws and snatch your socks while you sleep." Okay, yeah, cool, thanks, Pap. So, this folklore, childhood torture, perhaps more apt in this case, but I digress, imprinted so deeply on my little brain that I was scared when we drove by the river, ducking down into the back seat until the water was no longer visible every single time. But, okay, if I'm being honest, I really don't think my Pap had ill intentions. He was probably just having a little fun and didn't realize the damage he was doing regardless. Maybe he had heard about this incident next door in Indiana, and he was just, having a little greatest generation fun. So now that I got that childhood trauma out of the way, let's get to the meat of the story, shall we? In August of 1955, Naomi Johnson, her kids, and one of Naomi's girlfriends all set out for just a fun day trip to go swimming in the Ohio River somewhere in southern Indiana. So Naomi, likely needing a bit of a break from her children, speculating, but it's accurate. Right? She hurried out into the depths of the river by herself as her friend stayed closer to the shore. She's like, "Hey, I gotta get away from these kids. They're driving me nuts. Can you just watch them? I'm just gonna go float and stare at the clouds and pretend like I'm single and everything is fine and there's no taxes and life is beautiful." And her friend's like, "Yeah, buddy, get it moving." So anyway, this beautiful, calm afternoon of meditation and diversion became abruptly chaotic when Naomi's friend overheard her screaming from a distance. So she whips around to see Naomi just thrashing and splashing like some scene from Jaws, and she's like, "God damn it, she's just, here we go." So despite not being a particularly strong swimmer, she's just holding onto her inner tube and just starts frantically kicking all her way to go save her friend, like some little kid that just learned how to swim or something. So this squeaking sound inevitably the inner tube is making, you can hear it. It's like, yeah. Did that work? Did that get the point across? Anyway, it must have scared whatever this thing is away, and it stopped it from continuing to try to pull Naomi under. So it basically saved her life. And yes, you heard that right. Apparently something was trying to pull Naomi under the water. What? So, once they're safely on the shore, Naomi gathers her brain and she's like, "Okay, I was just out there floating. I was chilling. I'm minding my business. And suddenly I feel like a furry hand clasping my leg. So I'm like panicking and I'm like, shit, what do you do like if you're attacked by a shark? It's not a shark. This is the river. What the hell's going on? So I started kicking and thrashing and I just like refused to get dragged to the murky depths. And everyone's watching her like, how, what? Like, I hope they cleared out the water. This part's left out of the story, but like this feels like it would have been like a huge deal and like maybe someone else would have noticed, but maybe she was too far out. I don't know. Anyway, so apparently there's also some physical evidence while she's here telling her story. There's scratches and then apparently what looks to be like a deep green bruise in the shape of a hand that's just imprinted on her skin. So Naomi does not shy away from talking publicly about this event after it happens. She has an interview with the local newspaper. And there's photos of her in this newspaper, but no photos of the leg. No photos of the injury. So this begs the question, what the hell happened in the river that day? Is the green beast real? Like, what? Is it a green beast? It left a green handprint? But this is where the legend is born. Onward to the possible explanations. So naturally, theories surfaced that this was an alien or an alien hybrid of some kind. Upon seeing the story in the paper, some people came forward claiming to have seen flying discs in the area days before this incident. Naomi also claims to have been visited by someone from the National Guard days after the event, advising her to stop discussing it. Man in Black? UFO fever was at an all-time high in the 1950s, so this theory could just be all hearsay. Who knows? I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say, I don't think it was an alien. And I'm not really sure how substantiated these UFO sightings really are at that time. So there's also this theory floating around that it was a beaver, and I doubt that maybe more than an alien. Beavers are not aggressive jerks, so like, stop speaking ill of beavers. They do not hang out in the middle of rivers trying to kill people. Sorry. Thank you, next. I've also heard countless tales of giant catfish in the Ohio River, as mentioned earlier, not just from my grandfather. It is quite a pervasive legend for folks that live near and along the river. So I honestly think that this is the most reasonable theory. If the fish was big and desperate enough, it could have potentially seen her as a lunchtime feast. The fur could have been the rough texture of the inside of the catfish's mouth. They have like weird textured mouths. And the green mark could have just been some algae or like gross Ohio River muck. There's, again, no photos of her leg wound to analyze, so it's hard to tell if this was actually in the shape of a hand or if she just had interpreted it as such. Well, there you have it. The story of the green-clawed beast. What do you think it is? Maybe you're from Indiana and you have your own theories. Do you have any other weird stories about the Ohio River? Let me know in the comments.